hip hop, hip hop, hip hop, hip
Bars is back.
hip hop,
Sam
hip
Ant.
hop,
Oh God.
hop,
What's
hip
up with you?
hop.
I done watched them niggas do interview after interview. They not culture vultures, the culture something they been into. So if you never gave them a view, I recommend you do. Cause when they question guests, they message is not subliminal. It don't matter if you a rookie or at your pinnacle. They gon' touch on stuff that you did and what you finna do. It's uncensored too. Yo, they never had a goofy show, but I saw some boys on they show acting goofy though. Well, if you think they Stoopy though, you would get exposed like the hoes on OnlyFans letting coochie show. To introduce the show, when I sent this to Sam, asked, oh God, that nigga said, oh God, you the man, Cass. I spit white like a clan mask, and I'm a hustler. I could stand out on the beach and sell sandbags. Some things can't last, but this ain't just a podcast. This is Sam Ant and Oh God Cast. Hip hop uncensored is the vibe, so subscribe. Hip hop uncensored is the vibe, so subscribe. Oh God, driving Sam Ant riding passenger side, and you heard it out the mouth of the greatest rapper alive. Hip hop uncensored is the vibe, so subscribe. Hip hop uncensored is the vibe, so subscribe. Oh God, driving Sam Ant riding passenger side, and you heard it out the mouth of the greatest rapper alive. Go gang.
Welcome to another episode of the Hip Hop Uncensored Podcast. I'm your brother, O God, from Hip Hop News Uncensored, and sitting across from me is my co-host.
What's good, y'all? It's your man Sam Ant, CEO of Viral Hip Hop News, in the building for a very special edition of the Hip Hop Uncensored Podcast, because we got a very special guest in the building this afternoon, oh God. We got none other than the legendary Master P on the podcast. How you doing today, family?
What's going on, Soldier?
Happy to have you. An honor to be here, man. We often listen to you say, man, everybody has 24 hours in a day. And let me be the first to tell you, we spent a lot of those hours trying to get you on this podcast the last 4 years. So it's an honor to have you on here this afternoon, definitely. And let me start by saying congratulations on your new granddaughter. I believe you just had little Romeo. Romeo now just had a granddaughter. So congratulations. How's it feel, brother?
I feel good, man. It's a blessing to have another little soldier into this family. That just let us know that when you do right things, God will keep blessing you, and it's a blessing.
Yes, sir.
Awesome, man. Before we get into a little bit of the history, I want to start off with Snoop, and I'll get your thoughts on, I know you have a great relationship with Snoop Dogg, but talking about his acquisition of Death Row Records. I think he announced today that it was going to be the first NFT record label. So if you can talk about that, that'd be great.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. Snoop came to the University of No Limit, graduated, and like I said, bosses create bosses, and I'm proud of him, man. What he's doing with Death Row Records, and to be able to leave that company, come to No Limit, and then go back and be able to purchase that brand. That means that he's doing the right thing, and he's growing as a boss. And I think he's gonna I know he's gonna do incredible things. And I just love his heart and his passion for other people. The football league he was able to create and helping those peewees, kids that come from the inner city, and invest back into them. So, like I said, the blessings are going to keep coming. Me and him working on an NFT. So we're going to do some major things together, and we're just going to keep doing it all. We just did the Rap Snacks, the OG barbecue and cheddar. So Snoop never was on the bag of Rap Snacks, and now he's going to be one of the biggest stars on there. So it's incredible.
So, to be children of the 80s and to grow up in the hip hop era, to watch you get people like you, Snoop, Dre, Hov, 50, to see you guys back in, and then to see you guys as we're grown men, as growner men now, to see what you guys had is an absolute blessing to watch, especially going where you came from and to listen to your story. When you were doing music like Heaven for a Gangster, and when you were getting into it, when you were in Richmond, did you ever envision 3 decades later that you would be sitting right here?
Nah, it's a blessing. That's how I say, God is good, because without God sparing my life and letting me change my life around and growing up and bettering myself, I wouldn't be here. I know I'd probably be dead or in prison. And only you make choices and decisions for yourself. And I realized that if I want to live, if I want to better myself, I need to educate myself. And the Bible say wisdom is the most important thing you should pray for. And that's what got me through this journey, to be able to be here with my kids and not be afraid to grow up and not get caught up in the other people's mess. Look at life different, saying, you know what, if I want to be here now, then I need to do the right thing. And that's what I started doing. So like I said, nobody's perfect. We can't change the past, but we can change the future. And that's what it's been about me, educating myself, not only educating my family, because we want to build generational wealth, but also educate the culture at the same time, saying, look at what Master P was able to do in his childhood, and he was able to be successful. But look at his change and his growth. And now follow me on this journey through financial literacy, showing people, yeah, life goes up and down in business and life, but you can't cheat the game. You can't cheat the game of life, and you can't cheat the game of business. If you want to be a pro athlete or entertainer, you can't cheat that game. It's going to take hard work and education.
Yes, sir.
I remember you telling a story about, growing up with about 15 other siblings in the house. And you were talking about, you just not wanting to continue that cycle with your family, and really just wanting to think outside the box and do something where you can take care of your whole family. So take us back to the humble beginnings, growing up like that, and growing up with the mindset like, look, I got to do better than this. I want to be able to buy my mom a house, my grandmama a house. Talk about that mindset coming up in New Orleans.
Yeah, well, never be disappointed with your conditions. Be thankful. Even I was living in a project, it was 16 of us in a 3-bedroom project, and I've always thought that I was in a mansion. So, instead of power of words saying, oh, I'm gonna die here, I don't have nothing. No, you got to think beyond that. And I wanted to break those negative, stereotypical curses that they place on every family that live in the ghetto. And I said, you know what? Even though I never had a bed, and I'm in this place with 15 other people, one day I'm gonna get us out of here, and I got to do something. So I had to start investing in myself, start believing, and stop worrying about where I'm at now, but start investing into where I want to go at in life. And so I think that's what got me through it, knowing that even though we living in poverty, that I could change that by doing the right thing. I tell people this about having integrity, doing what's right when nobody's watching. So if everybody else doing drugs or getting high or partying, then I said, I don't want no taste of that. I need to figure out something else. I need to figure out how to get myself up out of here so I can take my family up out of here. And I think that's what changed my life. But I think the most important thing, when I start putting God first, everything else changed. The Bible say he'll take from the wicked and give it to the righteous. And I'm a living testimony that that's what happened. And even if my family member and friends don't get it, I'm about to leave them. I'm not going to sit back here and be stuck because they don't want nothing. They not doing nothing with their lives. I love them. Some of them I'm going to have to give tough love, but I got to go chase my dreams and my goals because I feel like it's a bigger picture for me. And this is not it. I'm not going to end this picture like this.
Indeed. You remember hearing stories about how your grandparents were like the staple of your family. Yeah. The same as ours. We cousins, and our grandparents were definitely the staple. And our grandfather in particular, who left a lasting legacy on us and who continues to talk to us to this day. I remember hearing a story about New Year's 1983 when you unfortunately lost your grandfather, and how you felt like you as a man had to step up and take over and went to basketball. Talk about your grandfather and what he meant to you back then and what he still means to you now.
Yeah, my grandfather was the backbone of the family. He was the strongest man in the house. He took care of his family. He loved us. I mean, he took his Social Security check and got me into a Catholic school in the hood. And I love him for that. He was a soldier in the military. He cooked for the family. He cooked in the military. And I'm honoring him today with these soldier snacks. I created this brand to give back to military kids and families that their parents that lost their lives. So this is so special to me when you talk about soldier snacks. And it's all about this character on here, Sergeant Claude, which is my grandfather. His name is Cory Miller. And my grandfather, he always cooked deep fried onion rings, and he made the little snacks. And so I'm able to honor him with that and let his legacy live on through Soldier Snacks. And I'm just blessed, man. I'm blessed to have, some people be complaining, oh, I live with my grandparents. No, I was thankful. They had a lot of value, a lot of wisdom, and they taught me a lot. So I was blessed as a kid to have that.
Indeed.
Right. So, you grow up, going to a private school, and you realize one of the things that you're going to use to take you and your family out the hood is basketball.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that when you started playing basketball and how that passion developed.
Yeah, basketball was my way out. I started out, I wasn't that good. I learned the game, and I learned how to shoot with no lights on. And learning how to shoot with no lights on, it got me to playing HHU basketball on a travel team. My coach Moon, I was the last guy to come pick up because I was the poorest guy on the team, but I had the biggest heart. My coach knew that I could shoot the basketball. So that took me to other places. It even took me to Puerto Rico. And to be able to go to Puerto Rico and go to all these other different places, I knew that it was something more for me than just the projects. And I think basketball took me on that journey, took me to college. Even though when I got hurt, I ended up back in the project, but I was able to see so much more besides the project. So I think, and when I got into the music industry, I was able to rebuild myself back up and to be able to go play with the Charlotte Hornets and the Toronto Raptors. It was just an incredible journey for me, but basketball taught me team, taught me, how to work with other people, how to create a team. Everybody got a role to play. So I think basketball brought me into that zone of my life where I'm at to now, to find the best other players that work with me and create this family and create this team. And I learned all that through basketball.
So take us back. I believe it was the championship game. You're at the free throw line. You hit the shots. Y'all win the championship. And you see a dude with a gun waving, saying, if you make the shot, you're going to die.
Yeah.
What happened? You make the shots. Y'all win the chip. What happened after that?
It was like you fearing for your life at one point. But what people didn't realize, all the other guys was from my project. And they was like, P, man, whatever. It's whatever. And so when I made the shot, I just ran straight to the locker room. But I guess the guys from my hood, they made sure I was good. So it's like, man, it's like, you just never know, man. It's like growing up in poverty, growing up in the ghetto, it's a different world. It made me tougher. I think my grandmother always told me, what don't kill you make you stronger. And to be able to build my character through poverty and through all the stuff that I seen as a kid, the crime and everything else, it makes me share this stuff with my kids and my family and also with other people. But I think that people could learn from my mistakes and learn from everything I went through. And I think when you live in poverty, you just go hard because you know it's no other way. It's no other way but up. And so I had to figure out how to teach my kids now that same hard work ethics, even though they have a nice, living arrangement and everything else, but teaching them how that hard work and being hungry and being passionate and love something that you do, then you could get to those same dreams and goals like me. You don't have to, live in the inner city to have that type of passion to want to make it. You just got to love what you're doing.
Right. Now I heard you telling a story about your grandmother. She had a dress, and she said that one day she'll be wearing this dress to your funeral. Talk about being in New Orleans and it getting so hot to the point where you're like, you know what? You looked at your son and you had to, I guess you started crying and said, look, I'm not going to live to make it to see him graduate. So talk about this transition from New Orleans, if you can, to Richmond, California.
Yeah. My grandmother giving me that tough love, it changed everything because, when you're out there on the streets and you think you know what's going on, but an older person tell you, like, you keep going up that road, I'm going to wear this dress to your funeral. It just broke me down. And I'm glad that she disciplined me like that and kept it real with me, because you have a lot of older people that don't keep it real with the younger kids, even parents. They want to be their kids' friend. You know, it was a time that my grandmother had to give me that tough love, and I think that's what saved my life. It took me on that journey, moving to Richmond, California, and opening up No Limit Records, and the rest was history.
Now, Richmond, that ain't a nice place either. I remember spending summers out in the Bay. Richmond ain't nice either. I remember watching Richmond fights on the CD. They used to sell them joints out there.
Yeah.
Talk about that, because you said that was like the rest is history. So was that your first big break, even though you went through all of that struggle? Was that the first
when we talk about Richmond, I went from New Orleans to Richmond, which was one hood to another.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what changed for me, I didn't know too many people in Richmond. So it was easy for me to get in trouble in New Orleans because I knew everybody.
Right.
I think not knowing the people there and just getting to know people through my business, through my record store, I think it was different from being in New Orleans and knowing everybody. So I was able to take advantage of that opportunity and create No Limit Records when we started as a retail store, but not a music company. And that's why I say the rest was history, because I was able to see Tupac, I was able to see Too Short, I was able to see E40, JT the Bigger Figure. Anybody that had talent came through my store because they needed to get their music out there. So it was a blessing for me to be able to see life from that perspective, and not just jump right into the music business. And I think being on the retail side, it made me make more songs than everybody else. I gave the customers more for their money, and I think that's why I was able to create a movement with No Limit instead of just a one-hit record deal and be done.
Right.
So, and to be able to have fans now, and to sell out arenas and do No Limit reunion tour and be able to give all the soldiers their flowers while they're here. I mean, it is a blessing.
Right.
Yeah, you went from, tell the people about the grind. Sometimes people think that people come into this and it's an easy road, but I remember you telling a story about your family was actually living in the back of that store.
Yeah.
How you go from living in the back of that store to, just slow walk and grind into where you're at now? Could you kind of give people that small journey?
Yeah, I think it's so incredible that in life, if you really want something, you gotta sacrifice. And so me living in the back of that store, I was making sacrifices. I know each time I had a store, I could go get me a nice apartment. And I'm like, well, if I get a nice apartment, I'm only gonna have that for a couple of months. But if I invest into this store, then I'll be able to have money forever, because now I have a business. And I think that was the thing for me, is knowing that I'm not looking at this as a loss. I'm not looking at this as a failure. I'm looking at this as a lesson. And so me living in the back of that store, now I got to grow and get better, make better decisions and choices, and how I'm going to turn these liabilities into assets. And I think that was the most important thing for me, sacrifice. So don't be afraid to sacrifice. Anybody listening and watching this, don't be in a rush to get to where you're going at, because if anything that happens quick, you lose it quicker. So me learning a business from ground up, I think that turned me into the business mogul that I am today, because I was able to. It's almost like going, before you get a big house, go buy a small house, a cheap house, and then learn all the lessons and all the failures and all the everything, all the difficult things that you're gonna go through, learn it on a small scale before you jump in and do it on a bigger scale.
I think it's fair to say that you were one of the first hip hop artist acts to really make money in music. Anybody we've talked to in hip hop often says there's not a lot of money in hip hop, and we've heard stories about obviously things that go on. When you started No Limit and you started on that journey to be independent in particular, how did you know that was the way to go, as opposed to going the traditional route and trying to find a label and go through there and do what the traditional hip hop artists did? How did you know that was the formula to get real money in hip hop?
All right, when I look at it, the situation is still the same than when I first got into the music industry. I looked at how many African-American CEOs do they have of companies, Fortune 500 companies. And it was a tenth of 1%. And it's the same today. And I wanted to make a change, and I wanted to show people if I could do it, they could do it. I wanted to be thousands of me. And looking at that, that's the only way we're going to change the narrative to better ourselves, is put more people that look like us into these companies. And at that time, music probably was one of the biggest ways to create a brand, and people look like us was putting out songs, but nobody was really getting the revenue that they deserve off these projects they was putting out. I mean, artists are still crying today. They was crying back in the days that their deals wasn't right. Now I'm like, okay, so why go be another artist instead of turning this into an empire and creating your own company? I always was taught that if you don't like the boss, then you need to go be your own boss. You need to go start your own thing. And that's what I did. I just thought that it wasn't enough African-American minority-owned record companies. And that was the reason why we wasn't benefiting, because none of us owned it. And I wanted to change that narrative.
Right. So you walk in, I don't know if it's not priority, but you meet with Jimmy Iovine.
Yes, sir.
He puts a deal on the table.
Mm-hmm.
He tells you if you don't sign this deal, that you'll never get a deal in this city again. You leave, you with Cory Miller. He tells you to sign the deal. I think it's for $1 million. But you walk away from that deal with $500 in your pocket.
Yeah.
What made you walk away and say, you know what? I'm going to do this by myself, because if I take this money, I'm pretty much going to end up a slave to the record label.
Yeah. So my grandfather taught me no deal is too big to walk away from. There's no deal in the world. Success, money, fame is temporary. He always told me that. And I just believe that. I mean, also I think me going to college, I was able to read the deal and see what it was. When you look at right now, and I want to go to fast forward now, look at Atlantic Record.
Yeah.
Mike Carrington then did the biggest deal, and he's never performed, never did anything. Mm-hmm. This is a white guy that learned the industry from us. He's the only person that came to me to seek information about the music industry. Mm-hmm. Now, all the other people that we know that's successful, whatever, nobody never came and asked me for advice to educate themselves on how to do this. This guy came to me maybe 9 years ago and said, how do you do this, and he was gonna do this, and he asked me that I wanted to be a part of it. I said, nah, man, I'm done with the music industry. But I'm telling you, if you go and put the work in, you can create your own distribution, your own label. And this guy went and did it. I mean, he signed all these major acts and went cashed out with Atlantic Records 8 years later and got $255 million. Now you show me whatever top artist on the Billboard charts right now in 8 years made $255 million and then went back and been the president of the company. So we have to start thinking outside just our talent. That's why I say product outweighs talent. Like if you really invest, if any of these other guys would have came to me as a consultant or whatever and say, Pete, help me on this journey. And you know, I don't have no money right now, but I'll give you 5 or 10%. I'd have been ready to do it. Our culture don't think that we need people. Like, why would you think that somebody been through this for you? I know all the secrets. I could show you that. But I just think this generation just don't get that. And this guy was able to get it. Look what he's doing now. And he's getting a check from the company to help run the company. And so I think, but that didn't happen with talent. And then he went sold the artist back to the label. And that's how he cashed out. So you have to know when to cash out. I think this generation, they only think, let's go get a check from these record companies. I'm saying, no, let's go create opportunity to where we could pass out the checks. And that's the difference. That's the only way we're going to build economic empowerment. And I just think that when we open our eyes up and we have the power, when we at the highest level of our talent, that these companies want to do business with us if we go with the right language, go with the right paperwork, and have the right plan and have the right strategy. These guys are going to open their wallets up to us. And I think that we only can make money in the music industry. I haven't made the type of money I make in the music industry for over 20 years, but I was able to be successful by creating other multi-revenue streams. And I think that's the key to success. We can't just do things one way no more. Because I'm from New Orleans. Once the hurricane come and that wash away, or you get older or whatever, then what? What do you do? Mm-hmm. You got to ask yourself that, like, and that's what I did even when I was younger. When I had that record store, I was always coming up with other ways to make revenue outside of the music business. I created dolls, I created clothing lines, I created all these other different things, other business, got into the movie side of the business. So I started thinking outside the box, and I want other young people to think like that, not just walk into these record companies and say, I'm going to sell my talent to you. Then what? Okay, what's your outgo? Because, everybody say, go get the check from the record company. I'm saying, nah, go create the opportunity, and then you create the check, and then you can help other people around you. And that's the way we have to think. But it's hard for us to think that way because now people want to get into the music business and be pampered. I'm the only person that got into the music business that sold 100 million records and haven't been pampered. I could pamper myself. That's almost like saying, oh, you want a Super Bowl ring or you want to make $500 million. And we could get you the Super Bowl ring and you're only going to make $500,000. Mm-hmm. That don't make sense. You could go buy your Super Bowl ring. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I want to teach to this culture. And that's why, I talk about the book, Never Go Broke. That's why it's so important.
Why do you think that we see some of the, you probably just expounded on it because they want to be pampered, but some of the greatest talent, for example, in Atlantic records like Meek Mill, Roddy Ricch, who else just came out, Bobby Smurda, and nothing against them brothers, but those people publicly came out against Atlantic records. Why do you still think that, or rappers or whoever the case may be, run to these deals and run to that check as opposed to putting their feet to the dirt and grinding and getting that long-term money? Why do you think we still as a generation, as a culture, do that?
Because we was programmed wrong. So it's the people around us, the influences around us that tell you, you made it once you got some nice jewelry and a car and all this type of stuff. But you know how much money those people make off of us, off our talent. And I don't think, we have the education to do that. The Bible say for a lack of knowledge, our people perish. And till somebody go into one of these record companies and study it and understand it from the bottom to the top, this is not going to change because we just want to come out the ghetto and have a couple of nice things, but we're not thinking long-term goals. So what's the long-term goal? Once you get to this level of life, you want to be able to keep that or you end up back in the projects. And we have to change that. And the only way we can change it is through education, and the media are going to have to promote more positive stories than just, us trying to be the toughest guys in the world. The toughest guys in the world are dead or in prison. So if you out here on the streets, you have some type of heart or some type of compassion for life. That why you think people are trying to do other things besides being in gangs and being on the streets, being locked up in prison? People getting into the music industry because they don't want that life, but they gotta try to act like they're so tough. And so that's where the change got. I think you just got to be yourself. I could put a suit on. I could put some shoes on. I could walk through the project like that because I'm going to be myself. I want to show people my growth. I don't want to stay in the same position that I was in 20 years ago. And that's going to require educating yourself and to grow up, to make better choices and decisions. You got to know the right moves to make. You got to learn from other people's mistakes. You could be hard-headed. You're going to end up dead or in prison. And I think that's the changes. Don't be afraid to change for yourself, for your family, if you got kids or anything. I think people try to keep it real with their homeboys, but their homeboys, if their homeboys could make it out the hood, they gone. They're not going to even ask you or owe you no explanation. They only there because they have to be there. Our people don't realize that you're not there for a reason. You did something to get yourself out of there. Now keep bettering yourself. And that's the mission I'm on, to educate our culture and showing them that don't look back. Don't forget where you came from, but don't look back. You can't change the past, but you can change the future. And that's why I say you either, walk with the pigeons or fly with the eagles. And most eagles fly alone.
Right. Now, Nipsey Hussle, I know you had a was a great mentor to him.
Yeah.
Was he happy, in your opinion, with his Atlantic deal? Because he was someone who notoriously was independent. And then, he reaped the benefits, or his family's now reaping the benefits after his death. So why do you think he ended up going to Atlantic as opposed to staying independent and reaping most of the benefits, in your opinion?
Me and Nipsey was close, and that deal he did with Atlantic, he didn't want to do that deal. He did it because he had to, because look at it. Nobody believed in Nipsey Hussle till he died. Then everybody brought all his product and brought everything. And then his whole thing while he was alive, he was like, boss, I just don't understand it. I got good music, but why is it not hitting? And I told him, I said, he showed me the deal. I went over the deal with him. I showed him what was good about the deal and what was wrong about the deal. And he told me, he said, I want to do what you do, but I got to do this first. I'm going to do this deal, make it a short-term deal and put this music out. And then so I could blow up. And then I could be able to put other people on the same way you was able to do it. I said, man, you got to do what's best for you and your family. What I was able to do, it just was a blessing. And it's sad to know that he didn't even see how people loved him and how many records he was able to sell. Because when he first put that record out, he only sold 50,000 units. And once he died, that record went triple platinum. Mm-hmm. It's crazy to me that how people were. And he told me all the time, we used to laugh about my shoes, but he loved what it stands for. So when I said Mayati, motivating oneself, encourage you actively to think independently, he was like, nah, that's going to blow up. Maybe people might not get it till you're dead, but that's going to blow up. And I'm like, you know what? I don't really care about it. It's like, I'm going to just keep doing what I do. And I don't have to put other artists, on my projects or other artists to promote. I need to believe in these shoes. I need to believe in this product. And, we used to laugh about it all the time because I'll be saying how product don't talk back. And he had issues with people because there's a lot of big time artists that didn't believe in him at the time. But once he died, everybody wanted to be on a record with him. So that just go to show you, man, it's sad that people don't appreciate you till you're gone. And I think that's what we got to change, this hate with love, and show people how to appreciate what they got, and through these Black History Months and stuff like that. We got to celebrate the people that are doing the right things. But I think the media just don't do that. I mean, how many Black history projects that we seen? I know it's COVID-19, but I don't see people celebrating how we used to do it back in the days. We used to celebrate people that look like us. I know people say, no, we should have this 365 days a year. We don't, but we know we have it now, and we should utilize that to promote the people that are doing right, or the people that paved the way for us in this country. So I just think it's going to take us to make that happen. Indeed.
How were you perceived in the music industry during your rise to fame with No Limit? Because obviously you were doing it a different way. You were killing it. You were doing it different than anybody. And the love that you had down south must have been crazy. We always talk about it. If we had that in different places, the places we would go, because we're from the East Coast, we're from New Jersey, and obviously we were born on the East Coast sound and things. And when you guys start coming out here in the wave, it was different for us. We didn't receive it the right way. It was crazy, but you guys already had a buzz, so it really didn't matter. But then when we took it, it was over. Like everything was insane. Yeah. Talk about that. Like, how were you guys perceived in the industry once you really started getting out of the South or wherever you guys were popping and started really getting in other places?
So people don't know, like in New York, I was able to take over New York, and it never happened with a Southern artist, because either had to be East Coast or West Coast.
Right.
Even at the time, the Ghetto Boys was brilliant. Their music was big, but it didn't take over in the East Coast yet, because East Coast people thought that the music was riding music or more slower than what they do. One of my homeboys played with me on the basketball team. His name was Mac. So people don't know, I used to come to New York all the time and put my music in the clubs, and I'll be putting up posters. I'll be in Harlem, I'll be in Brooklyn, and people be like, man, is that you? I say, no, man. I work for the company. I'll be putting up posters. So I was out there in New York, man, hustling, putting my own posters up, and it just caught on fire, man. Body caught on fire. And I start realizing that this is bigger than just a South thing. And that now, by me being myself, this is catching on worldwide. And I just think you just got to get out there and go do it. I said I'm going to represent the South, but I'm going to go everywhere and have my music catch on. And I think that was the difference for my journey, just touching the people. And I feel like we created a movement because, you know, even in the East Coast, my music had got so big where everybody was wearing camouflage jackets and bomber jackets, camouflage, everything, like they was on it. And that's from, I think, me getting out there touching the people. And I think people don't realize, I think my first show was in the Midwest, was like Cincinnati, my first real show. And I was down there with a guy named Fresh. He was a DJ at the time. And my music caught on like that in the Midwest by me just going out there, being out there, touching the people. And I think it's a difference, man. I think a lot of people now, they hiding behind these computers, but you got to get out there and go touch the people if you want to create a movement.
Definitely. Now talk about, as you guys call him, Little J.
Yeah.
You seen him out in Houston. I think he was playing basketball out there, and you seen him in the club with a mink coat, and you wanting to do what he did. Talk about his influence and inspiration in your life, if you can.
So that's what I want to tell y'all. Now, this music industry has so many snakes. Like I say, everybody want to outdo you. Everybody want to be you. When I seen Lil J in the club with that mink coat on, I celebrated him because I'm like, even till the day, he's my mentor. I don't see that there's nobody bigger than him in the game, for as me coming from the South. I look up to Uncle Luke, but these are my OGs. These are the guys that opened the doors and paved the way for me. So the Tony Drapers, I have to celebrate them. And when I seen it was a black man owner's own company, because I asked Lil J, I said, man, what you do? You rap? He said, no, I own the company. I'm the boss. And I said, damn. If I ever get into the record business, I was a basketball player then. I was playing for the University of Houston. And man, just the way he stopped and talked to me and let me know that, man, you know, I did it, you could do it. And I think that's what we have to be. I think this generation get caught up now that, you know, everybody got that sense of pride that they got to be better than the people that came before them. Now, these are the experts. When I look at Lil J, I respect him to this day because he opened the doors for me. That me seeing another black man be successful and have his own business in the music business. And I'm like, you know, you can't take that away. Nobody's perfect. I get that part. Everybody got their own flaws and whatever, but this guy actually did that way back then. And I was able to come behind him and still respect him and not be in a frame of mind where I got to outdo him. I mean, he's the godfather. I look at myself as, you know, Frank Lucas or something, you know, come down the line, but he's the godfather. And I think that's the way we got to do this generation. We have to be able to celebrate the people that came before us, and we got to stop all the self-hate and trying to outdo the people. And that's why I say so many snakes in the music business. That's why I got out. I got out early. I got out because I got tired. I'm like, this is about enhancing our culture. And what Snoop and them did this week with the Super Bowl, it was incredible, man. We celebrate them. I'm proud of Snoop and Dre and Mary J. Blige and 50, Eminem, what they was able to do. They showed the world that hip hop is here to stay, and that we growing up, and that if you do the right thing, you'll keep being blessed. And that's what we doing. I mean, I'm celebrating Lil J because he opened the doors for me.
Speaking on that, and to kind of bring it to now, the generation now is very different. And we talk about the violence in hip hop, and violence has been going on throughout our culture in hip hop for forever, but it seems very different now. And it used to be life imitating art, but now it just seems like we're going to celebrate any crazy ass thing that we can possibly do. Yeah. Talk about the music industry and how you kind of see it from afar and what you think of it now.
Well, I think the media is a big problem of it because they think the only way we could blow something up is get clicks in. Nobody even read the story no more. Everybody just go off a headline.
Yeah,
right. Run off of headlines. I think now you pausing in these young people thoughts, and it's even a lot of older people, you know, pausing these young people thoughts, telling them they need to do this, they need to do something wild. Now, man, what about being yourself and being humble? You'll last a longer time. I think it's going to start with us having these conversations like this and being able to showcase the people that has the sustainability, the people that's doing the right thing. Even when you look at the Super Bowl, being able to celebrate Jay-Z, even though we've seen all the artists and hip hop out there, Jay-Z had to go build that relationship with the NFL to be able to open those doors for hip hop. So, we got to look behind the scenes. We always look in front of the screen, but look behind the scenes and see the people that are pulling the plugs and making a difference and building those resources so we can have change and growth and create economic empowerment. So, I mean, we are stronger together, and we're getting wiser. We're constantly growing, and I think that hip hop as a culture, we own something big, and it's starting right after this Super Bowl halftime show, showing the world, what hip hop could be, and how we able to take over all these corporations and brands. Now they need us to sell their products.
Right. If you could you talk a little bit about Cory Miller?
Yeah,
your brother. We covered a few stories over the last couple of years about hunger strikes and different things. I think we even talked to one of his representatives at one point. How is he doing? And any updates on him if you care to share with the people?
Yeah, Cory Miller's my brother. I love him. I think a lot of celebrities and stars and people, people come in and to be a part of, trying to get him. He's an innocent man. But at the end of the day, man, I think education is what this is all about. Trouble is easy to get into and hard to get out. I mean, he's holding his head up. He's in good spirit. But at the same time, man, this is a difficult case because of what his name is, his stage name. And people shouldn't be incarcerated for a stage name. But this is not a federal case. This is a state case. So you have to build relationships with the governor, with people inside Louisiana. And I think that a lot of celebrities and entertainers, they don't understand that. So as a family, we're just trying to do our part, and we know one day we're going to get him out soon. Mac is home, and free Cory Miller, my brother, gonna come home soon.
And what do you think about, I was reading up about Louisiana. I'm not sure if they changed it, being the only state where somebody can be convicted, by a jury, or not convicted unanimously by a jury. I think it was like 10-2 or something like that.
Yeah, not
sitting in there.
It's crazy. That's why I say trouble is easy to get into, but hard to get out of, especially in Louisiana. This is not the place to have to be fighting for your freedom, even if you're innocent. I know so many people that's incarcerated now, even for marijuana, cannabis, a $20 bag of cannabis. They had a guy now serving a life sentence. And so that's when I came up with the 520 Cannabis Freedom Day. So,
right,
man, we fighting for so much stuff. I mean, cannabis is legal in 34 states, and it's not legal in Louisiana yet. So we just got to keep fighting, man. There's a lot of injustice, but, we got to do a lot of praying. It's going to take a lot of prayers.
For sure.
Indeed. I don't know if you know or saw Mayor Eric Adams in New York. He's trying to put a social ban on drill music, saying that it's terrible. It's leading to youth gun violence. He was speaking on a young rapper that passed away, a drill rapper. And we see, and obviously kind of pertaining to Cory Miller situation, the prosecution used his lyrics against him in that situation. So we see the power of lyrics, and we're trying to advocate against that. But what's your thoughts on the mayor pushing against just completely eradicating drill music altogether, or from social media, I should say?
Yeah, I just think that you know better, you do better. I mean, it's just entertainment, but at the same time, a lot of our young people are dying because they can't see the difference. And I think that's what the mayor is trying to say. I think he's saying it, but people not connecting to it because he's not saying it the right way. I mean, people are dying, and we have a lot of followers now to where young people are not being able to see that this is entertainment. If you look at what Scarface and that movie did for us back then, it turned a lot of people out, but a lot of us realized that this was just entertainment. And I think till we get these young people to realize that this is just entertainment, these guys are not living like this every day. So when you see that music, you thinking that you have to live like that. And it's the other people that are committing the crimes. It's not the artists that you're seeing. The artist is using this as entertainment to make it out the ghetto. But at the same time, the younger generation is brainwashed by this, whether it's blacks, whites, Latinos, or Asian. They don't really want to live that life, but they want to wild out. And when they get caught up, they don't realize that it was just entertainment from an artist. And so I just think once he's able to explain what he's trying to say, I think that people are going to see, he's trying to save lives. But at the same time, I mean, we have the freedom of speech. We have the freedom to create any type of music. This is America. So I don't think it's going to stop that. But I think that people have to start being responsible for their own lives and stop, pointing the fingers at other people. And I mean, I think as a kid, I watched New Jack City, Scarface, right. So you can want to be Tony Montana. I mean, Scarface shot up the movie. I mean, he got shot 100-something times, so he was shooting with the machine gun. Did they mean that we wanted to live like that? The right. people that's going to take it and take the negative part and get brainwashed, they're going to do that anyway. They could go watch a Disney movie and do that. So, but I just think we got to stop pointing the fingers and finding excuses for people. We are dealing with mental illness in this country, but I also think that parents have to take accountability. When my brother died at 19, my parents had to take accountability for it, not just like, oh, well, we're going to blame it on some music or blame it on that. No, let's blame it on reality. If your kid's in the wrong place at the wrong time, doing the wrong stuff, they're going to eventually get into some type of violence or trouble or even death or go to prison. So I think as parents, when we spend time with our kids, we got to show them that this is just entertainment. Like, you don't have to live like that. Like a video game. They're not going to play in the video games because, we got Grand Theft Auto. We got it real. And some kids done died from that, trying to mark that. So, but, we have to sit down, hold these conversations like the mayor is doing. And we got to come with some type of happy medium or put some type of advisory on this product. But I don't think these kids going to stop it. It's going to make them go underground and do it even more. So, we got to spend time and educate the next generation.
Yeah. Now, Jay-Z, Meek Mill, and a few other rappers a couple of months ago, they're trying to get a bill passed in New York to kind of add on to what he said, to ban rap lyrics from being used in court, being as though your brother, Cory Miller, his lyrics were used, to paint him out in court as a bad person. How do you feel about that bill being passed in New York and obviously going around the country? Do you support it? Are you against it?
Yeah, I think it's good, but I think that we have to grow up as people.
Yeah.
Because, if you don't grow up, no matter what bill they pass, like, you got to want to do right. The only reason I'm still here because I decided to do right for me and my family. Now, if my lyrics, they could say whatever about me, about my lyrics. That's my past. I can't change the past, but I can change the future. And I realized that if I have lyrics like that, then I'm living on eggshells. I got to do the right thing 10 times as more than somebody else. Are you going to end up getting caught up for whatever? But I think when people know your heart in the right place and you do the right thing, I think whatever somebody tried for evil, God will turn it for good for you. And I think that's what my life is at. Like, none of us is exempt from pain. So no matter what, even if you defend yourself, if somebody come in and try to do something with me and I have a gun that's registered and I defend myself because of where my music comes from, people are going to stereotype me by it. And the only thing I could do is what I learned from Johnny Cochran. Johnny Cochran said, well, my brother crackhead, but I'm not. I'm accountable for me. And I got to hold myself accountable and do the right thing when nobody's looking. And so when people realize that, man, this man is not like that, they will eventually leave you alone. But if you carrying all this stuff and you're not making changes, then the world is going to point the finger at you because they're looking for you to mess up, especially coming from hip hop. And that's what we dealing with now. It's bigger for them if we get caught up. So they want to make sure. I mean, somebody else. My brother's dealing with this now. He ain't the guy that committed the crime. But if you're around the wrong people, you're guilty by association. That's just how the system look at you as an entertainer. And I guess those lyrics, the same thing. People look at that too and say, well, if you got that in your lyrics and your music, then you live in that. I mean, look at Mac. Mac was a living example to where that murder, kill song he made. I mean, he could be talking about killing the game. But once you get in court, you know, but I think too, you got to police yourself. So you know that you're a target. And so what you need to do is do the right thing. And that's the only thing I'm doing. I'm not perfect. I'm praying for the people that get caught up into the injustice. But at the same time, I'm trying to be 10 steps ahead of them and just do the right thing. And then if something negative happened, you know, me defending myself, then you know what? I mean, that's the way it goes. I realize in life that you just have to do the right thing. And I just leave you with that. I think if they go get that taken out of court and all that, it still don't matter. I think every individual is going to be held accountable for themselves. And I think it's a great start. But, you know, I don't think the world going to judge you by your lyrics. At the end of the day, they're going to judge you by your action.
Yeah. If we can, let's talk a little bit of business, man. We had James Lindsay on a couple of weeks ago. You know, your co-partner in Rap Snacks. Let's talk about Rap Snacks, man. How's that going? And
so Rap Snacks, y'all see, come on. First father and son.
Dope.
Snacks on the bag. Master P and Romeo. I mean, me and James is like brothers, you know. We got Rap Snacks. I was able to create Soldier Snacks now, you know, to help military families and their kids. And we just great business people. We like, it's enough room for all of us. We brothers, man. And I think I've always told the world like how brilliant James is to be able to mix up potato chips and put it in a bag. And I'm just happy for him and his family. And you know, he's the CEO of Rap Snacks. I'm the CEO of Rap Noodles. To be able to invent that, I realized that we've been eating noodles all our lives and nobody has owned something like that. And I just want to say for our culture and our people, we have to stop the self-hate and celebrate each other. That's the way me and James do it. There's so much opportunity and so much room that we could come up with 20,000 products and there still be enough room for 20,000 more entrepreneurs to get their products into these stores. The thing that I love about what we are doing, we showing other people that look like us that they can do it too. And that's the page I'm on. Like, we're not looking back, and whatever we can help each other with, we help each other with. And then we got our own things and we do our own thing. And that's what bosses do. That's what real men do. And we constantly creating other avenues of revenue. And I think not just to have it, just to enjoy it, but to be able to open up other doors and opportunities for other people that look like us. And that's the journey we on. It's not just about what you see now. It's the other stuff that we coming up with that I know that's going to be life-changing, not only for us, but for other people too.
You know, a lot of people have dreams, aspirations, but they stop at the beginning. They get to the beginning, and that first step is so hard they can't cross it, so they stop. You've had so many first steps, and some have failed, most have succeeded.
Yeah.
What has been your formula? Because now you're in like the manufacturing, or like you're in supermarkets and things like that.
Yeah.
How would somebody get into, okay, I want to manufacture my own noodle, like to even think about getting into that first step? Talk about just the challenge of that first step and how you overcome that in each and every one of your business ventures.
Yeah, because I use the same strategy. Put God first. Like, I don't do this for just me. It is not just about me. I want to take care of other families. And I think the strategy that I have is operate with integrity. And so I think that's how I get through a lot of stuff. Have that same integrity and find people around you that has that same integrity and put the work in. I think you can't hit the ball if you never swing at it. I think a lot of people want to be successful, but they're not putting the work in. So your work ethic is going to show everything. And like I said earlier, marketing your products is so important. You have to show people that you believe in your brand. And there's no way I could sell noodles if I don't eat them. I mean, I love it. The noodle, I've been eating noodles as a kid, and I feel like people love my product because they see how passionate I am about it. Mm-hmm. And I think that's just the difference. If you're not passionate about what you're doing in business, you'll never be successful. I tell people all the time, I say, P, why are you successful at what you do? Because the stuff that I do, I want it to be successful as much as I want to breathe.
Wow. Now, we're not gonna hold you too much longer. Definitely appreciate you.
Indeed.
You talk about the 90% business, 10% talent. Could you break that down for us a little?
So think about this, right? When you watch Michael Jordan or LeBron James on the basketball court. So when you look at that Staples Center with LeBron James, right? 10% of that is the talent. Everything else, the filming of this, the fans, everything that they selling in there, the product. If they could pay LeBron them $200-300 million, how much do they make? So that's the business part of it. Look at the business, look at the mechanics, everything that's going on behind the scenes. I don't care from the people working in the hot dog stand to the concessions, to the people opening the doors, all this other stuff to come watch what? That 10% of talent that think it's all about them, but it really is not. It's all the other things that's happening, that's making the magic happen, to get the cameras to come on, to get ESPN to come to these games, to do all these different things, to get all these celebrities to spend their money to come and buy seats and stuff to come to see what? 10% of the talent, because the machine is creating everything else. And that's why I tell people to get caught up, because you get artists now think it's all about me. It's all about you for a moment. Then next year, somebody else. Then next year, somebody else. Now you can see why I mean 10% of the talent. But guess what? The business is constantly going. The marketing, the strategy, they always bringing in some new talent. Look at the NBA. Every year, they bringing somebody else in. And that's what I'm preparing my kids for. When I tell Mercy and Hurst, when they wake up in the morning, I say, you got to outwork everybody else. If your teammate went to practice once today, you got to go twice or 3 times. And people get caught up thinking that it's all about them. It ain't all about you, because they forget about you. Once you can't run or shoot, think about all the great athletes that we know. But once for the time caught up with them, I mean, even you look at Michael Jordan, he wasn't the same player he was with the Wizards. Kobe Bryant wasn't the same player in his last days, even though his last game he scored 51 points, but he wasn't the same, because at the end of the day, for the time will catch up with you. And that's why I say, I mean, even in anything we do, 90% business. Every corporation, whatever they putting out there, that little small piece of what it is only make up 10% of what it took to get there. Like we talk about getting product into the grocery stores and all these other things, because that's the hardest thing in the world to do. It's easy to create product. How you get distribution for it? That's why a lot of people stuck with products sitting in their garage. And so when you look at what we was able to create and get these products out of our garage and onto the shelves, that's a blessing. In which a lot of these companies, they wasn't looking at African-American product until we start getting product into these stores, and they start realizing it's an imbalance. When you look at Aunt Your Mama and Uncle Ben, it's pure mockery of us. So think about it. They created a multi-billion-dollar business off models. Aunt Your Mama and Uncle Ben was a model. That's why I say 10% was putting those models out there, where the other 90% was look at the money they made in the advertisement and all these different things, because we think it's all about our talent. They're going to find new talent every year, every week. Think about it. College is already looking at other high school players. Why you might have the top superstar there. The NBA already looking at the next draft for next year. While this year draft just getting started, they ain't not going to be rookies next year. It's going to be bringing in a whole new 23 draft picks. And so you can't get caught up in with your talent, like thinking that, you're going to make people do all this because you're a talent. Talent come and go, and it only make 10% in a business deal.
Indeed, we definitely appreciate your time. It's been a true honor to sit here for an hour to speak to you, man. We understand money, time, and it's been an honor. I got one more question. It could be brief. Agent Johnson, he passed away some time ago, but it recently came out, his cause of death, and we all heard it. I'm not going to sit back and talk about it here, but what was your thoughts on AJ Johnson? How do you feel about his passing?
Man, he was a great person. He made everybody laugh, but you know, he dealt with things like when you talk about, you know, alcohol abuse and stuff like that. We don't want to talk about that because we want to remember our people on how it is, even drug abuse,
Right.
All these different things. We have to share this with our culture and our people if we want our people to live longer. And that's why I say knowledge, information is so important. Education is so important because we're not even educating ourselves. You know, health is wealth. Everybody talking about money, but health is wealth because we could have a lot of talented people still here if they just fixed a couple of things that they needed to fix. And I think it's because of lack of education.
Indeed.
Yeah, definitely got Master P on the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast for the first time. Hopefully it won't be the last. Please, if you can, drop your social media, any last message that you got for the people. The floor is open.
Yeah, I mean, y'all can find me at Master P. And, you know, I did it. Y'all could do it. Don't look back and put God first. Anything is possible.
Been a true honor, brother. Definitely appreciate you. And if you're looking for independent hip hop podcast on Rap Snacks, you got two brothers right here that would love to be on the bag, brother. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate
Salute.
All right, brother.